Well, I've been still trying to decide what I'd like to do vlogs about. I just recorded a train that went by just a few minutes ago here. Not that I plan on being a train spotter. There's way too many people already doing that. But I thought it was interesting to comment on where I actually filmed the train. Right now you can see a railroad track in the background. What you can't see is two railroad tracks. Well, you can. There's two tracks there side by side. What you can't see is one running perpendicular to this one. The railroad behind me is the Southern Railroad. It's in Junction City, Kentucky, and it's traveling from Danville and Moreland's that way. I'm not sure what's beyond it as far as which way the track goes. But the interesting reason I stopped here and came to this point is years ago there used to be two railroads here. The Norfolk and Southern is what this one's called now, which used to be called the Southern Railway. But running the other direction, from my left to my right, would have been the Louisville and Nashville Railroad. It's a railroad that dates back to the 1800s. And sadly, during the 1990s, after many changes, buyouts and all, the small short line piece that went through here just wasn't needed anymore. The Louisville-Nashville was a fairly significant railroad for a period of time. It bought out numerous other railroads and merged with Chesapeake Line, merged with many others, and I couldn't even list them all because I have no clue. But in the end, Louisville National was bought out by what's currently called CSX. And CSX found no need for this roadway here. The sad part of that is this was the main mode of transportation for people years ago, you know, before the car really took hold and was the main method of transportation. Of course, as cars became more prevalent in trucks, the little short line railroads needed to go from town to town weren't really necessary anymore. Where I'm standing also used to be, considering two railroads crossed here, this area had like 3 or 4 motels here. There was one off to my left, one off to my right, one across the road going off in the other direction. And because this was an interchange point for people getting off one railroad and getting onto another, they could get a meal, they could get room to stay in for the night and wait on their next train meeting. And I don't know the train schedules, wouldn't even fathom it. I'm sure you could Google it. The two railroads again are Southern Railroad, running the track still here, which is now called Norfolk Southern, and the one that's absent, running the other direction, to my left or right, is the Louisville National Railroad. It was used to haul a great deal of coal through this area, and that I do remember from years ago. Remember seeing the many coal cars that were sitting on the sidings. And that's about all really I can tell you about it. I was kind of wondering if another train might come by. Like I say, not planning on being a train spotter. I just find it kind of interesting the difference in the cargoes you see today as to what you saw years ago. When I was a child, I lived in this local area, and many of the trains you saw back then were carrying car haulers, they were carrying coal, they were carrying many box cars with freighted goods. Nowadays, the train that just passed had a huge amount of trailer on flat cars and container on flat car type cars with trailers and flat cars. I even noticed that some of them had refrigerated tractor trailer mounted on top of the rail cars, and the refrigeration units were actually turned on, so I'm assuming there was some type of refrigerated goods inside the trailer. Well, I guess I will pause this for now and we'll go somewhere else and take a look at something else.